class. My name is Ricardo, and today I'll be taking on prompt number 2, which deals with the balance of powers between federal and state governments. So, uh, to to answer the question, to what extent did the Civil War resolve the issues of states' rights versus federal powers? So, the Civil War solved this issue by legitimizing the powers of the federal government over that of the states, leading them to have a higher subordination when in comparison, leading them to have a lower, leading them to being more subordinated to the federal government, as especially in the South, because they lost and they were brought back into the Union. So, after this, they also reconstructed and we can see how they reconstructed the nation by adding the 13th, 15th, and 14th Amendments, which were aimed to bring the people together, and they due to them being amendments and being applied to all of the US to all the states, that kind of shows that the federal government had more power and it could just do that. But of course, after the federal government left, stopped being so upfront to especially the southern states about things like that, then the southern states went back to not physically fighting but legally and politically, just trying to go against what the federal government said. And we can see this by implementations of Jim Crow laws which were made and segregation which occurred, especially in the South. Furthermore, the impact of or the authority of the federal government was slowed down or kept in check by the Supreme Court with decisions like the one they took in United States versus Cruikshank. And due to this back and forth between the states and the federal government, it influenced contemporary America, as nowadays, with issues like abortion or any other controversial topics in general, there is, a back and forth in between the federal government and the states, which comes from the states back then refusing or fighting against the federal government and just going back and forth with them. And even though they are still at peace and don't want to start a war against them, but they still try to go against it or try to do their own way over the federal governments. But they'll still follow whatever the federal government says.